In order to truly understand the ongoing conflict between Israel and many of its neighbors around the Middle East, including this current war that Israel's in against the Hamas terrorist organization in the Gaza Strip, in Hezbollah in southern Lebanon, one needs to understand a couple important concepts in Islam. Let's explore them. Shalom, my friends. This is the Key of a Gersh with Israel in 5, where we give you everything Israel in 5 minutes. Please like and subscribe. If you have any questions, want to keep the conversation going, please do so below in the comments. It's important to understand some history when trying to understand the modern day and what's going on, specifically with current events in the Middle East, specifically between Israel and many of its neighbors, who for many years have sought to destroy the one Jewish state in the world. It's very important to understand that for many, many centuries, Muslim empires ruled the land of Israel. They ruled a large swath of land, including the Middle East, or most of the Middle East. And of course, included in that, was the current state of Israel, or the land of Israel, as we call it historically. Now, in Islam, it's important to note that they basically view the world being in two parts, like two worlds in this world. There's the DAR Al-Islam, which is the world of Islam, which is the world, a part of the world, the countries, the regions, the lands that are already under the control of Islam, of Islamic rule. And the other world, the rest of the world, is the world Dar Al-Harb, if I'm saying it properly. It's the world of the sword, right? It's the world that has not yet been conquered by Islam, but one day they believe will or should be and needs to be. Under Islam, the entire world needs to succumb to the religion of Islam and to Allah as the God and as Muhammad as their prophet. They believe that Islam is the only way, the one way for the entire world, for all of humanity. And that is a deep part of their religious belief. That's the way they view the world. Connected to that is the concept of jihad, which is a religious war. Right? There is an idea of jihad as being a spiritual, interpersonal war. There is that, obviously, and for sure, and it's important to understand that. But there's also the external jihad. There is the going to war against what they view as the enemies of Islam, and part of their taking over the world, part of their spreading Islam all over the world, and eventually bringing all the lands, all the regions, all the peoples under the rule of one religion, that, of course, being Islam. Now, let's look at the land of Israel, the current modern state of Israel, and see how that all plays into it. The land of Israel, though the original homeland, the ancestral homeland of the Jewish people, going back over 3,000 years, well before Islam came into this world as religion, eventually was conquered by Islam. In the early years, in fact, of Islam, in the 7th century CE, it was conquered and controlled by Islamic rulers. And that continued with just a pause of a couple hundred years during the Crusader times. That continued all the way till after World War I, when the Ottoman Empire, not Arab but Muslim, lost the land in the Middle East as a result of being defeated by the French and the British in World War I. That's many, many centuries of this land, the land of Israel, the current state of Israel, being controlled by Muslim rulers. And it was a real loss and even an embarrassment for them to lose their lands to what they viewed as colonial powers, as Western Christian powers, again, England and France. And so this land that used to belong to them, that now, today, since 1948, is in the hands of Jews, right? Rightfully so. We have all the legal and historical and spiritual and religious right to be here. But to them, and the way they view the world, this is land that once used to be ruled by Muslims and now is ruled by Jews. And in their religion, another important concept is the idea that the Jew is a dhimmi, right? Is a second-class citizen. Right? Before, excuse me, before Zionism, there was a small population of Jews always living in the land of Israel all those centuries during Islamic rule. And they weren't always treated well. Believe me, you learn the stories, you learn the history. There was a lot of oppression. and a lot of pain and suffering that the Jews went through. But for the most part, they were tolerated, they were allowed to be. Or why? Because they didn't want a country of their own. They weren't trying to create their own country. Come Zionism in the early 1880s, forget about it, right? Come the Balfour Declaration in 1917, which basically expresses England's support of Zionism, forget about it. And then come in 1920, the British mandate, the mandate of Palestine that was given to the British to oversee the establishment of a Jewish state in the land of Israel, forget about it, right? This connected to the concepts we just learned basically is what gave birth to the intense and violent anti-Zionist, anti-Israel movement within the Arab world, specifically, and within the Muslim world at large, globally, right? Because this land that used to belong to and be controlled by Muslims was going to now be in the hand of dhimmis, of second-class citizens, according to Islam, that just can't be according to the way that they view the world. Of course, we know and we believe that it could be, and it is, and it will continue to be that way. But this is an important thing. These are important concepts to understand when really trying to understand what is this conflict about? Where does it come from? It is very, very much a religious battle for them between Islam and the Jewish people, trying to recreate themselves in their ancestral Jewish homeland, which they have done, and they are trying to take it away from us for exactly these reasons. I hope that helped your understanding of this ongoing conflict that we're in, the many wars that we have fought against many of our enemies who are motivated by exactly these concepts, and specifically jihad. They do believe that they need to take us out and restore Islamic rule into this land in general, according to their Islamic principles, but especially because once upon a time they did rule this land. Of course, that was during the time that the Jews were kicked out of this land, well after we established ourselves in this land. Originally, we know the story, but again, it is important to understand how they view things, even if we don't agree with them and very much oppose the way that they view the world. It's important to understand, right, how they view this conflict in order to best fight our enemies in this conflict. All the best, my friends, and be well.